Good evening, everybody. I'm here to talk to you tonight about the Millennial Generation. The definition of the Millennial Generation. Generation Y, close to a third of all Americans, 78 million strong, born between the years 1980 to 2000. Millennials are often called the lost generation, referred to as spoiled, entitled, lazy, and special little snowflakes. Millennials are often stereotyped as overcoddled and overpraised, given a gold star and trophy for practically everything since birth. However true you believe these stereotypes to be, there is no denying this fact. Millennials are the future. They are the future business leaders, career professionals, and consumers. You are either hiring a millennial or selling to a millennial. Equally important, millennials will be the future caregivers of the largest generation to retire in history, the baby boomers, who are those born between the years 1946 to 1964. I am a millennial who graduated during what Harvard University's Lawrence F. Katz calls the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression of the 1930s. According to a testimonial delivered by Dr. Katz to the Joint Economic Committee in Congress in April 2010, long-term unemployment disproportionately affected young workers. Now, depending on which polling firm you get your statistics from, young people today hover between 15 to 20% unemployment. Long-term unemployment historically has led to larger declines in earned income, severe health issues, and yes, even an increase in mortality. Long-term unemployment actually is killing our youth. Forbes magazine came out with a report that said that young adults are taking a toll on their boomer parents. 50%, nearly 50% of young adults between the ages of 18 to 39 still rely on their parents financially for living expenses such as transportation costs, spending money, medical bills, and things like student loan debt. So the question then becomes, what do we do about this problem? How do we solve this issue? For me personally, I'll tell you about what happened to me in 2007 during the economic collapse in this country. I was graduating from UC Santa Cruz, had a budding career, and all of a sudden my mom was hit with lupus. Health insurance companies had dropped her for pre-existing conditions, so we had to send her to a third world country to get her health care. My parents had filed for divorce that year. Our family business went belly up, and our homes went into foreclosure. So here I am, I was asked to be the student speaker at my graduation, while simultaneously my last quarter's tuitions was in collection with the registrar's office. So I was on stage and I didn't even know if I was technically going to graduate. I found myself a couple months later couch surfing at friends' homes across the state, literally. And I started to question the system. I said, how could someone like me who grew up in an American suburban home, who lived with good parents, had a great college career, how did I end up here? So I started to self-reflect and I said, well, I want to get involved in the system. So I went on to DC, I interned on the Hill, I worked in campaign finance, I worked at the highest levels of government, and I saw the corruption front and center that was going on with our politicians and our decision makers in our country. More so than any policy decisions, I realized that they were empty when it came to affairs of the heart. You would see that the people who were taking care of the largest issues of our country who were empty inside. And they weren't making decisions on behalf of the American people. They were being paid off by corporations. And then you have policies like Citizens United, which deem corporations as people, and unlimited campaign spending, where you can practically buy a politician. In other countries, we call it bribes. Here in America, we call it campaign finance. So now you have 22 million millennials who still live with their mom and dad, 1.6 million homeless youth. You have 78 million of us, and we have an average debt of $45,000 per millennial. And the boomers and the silent generation have left us with $17 trillion worth of debt. That's like me going into a restaurant after everyone's had dinner and them saying to my generation, here, pay the bill. And I've had no say in what food to order, and I didn't even get to eat. So, I don't want to make this sound like doom and gloom, because I really do believe in my generation. What did I do to find the light in my own life? I became introspective. I went inside. I looked for the light within. There was nothing out there that was going to tell me how to fix this country. Everything that I needed was in here. When I was working for the city of San Jose, I worked for a council member doing policy analysis, and I came across this quote from an author who was a New York Times bestseller. Her name is Marianne Williamson. And I read this quote, and it completely transformed my life. She said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So here I am before all of you today, in front of my generation who are probably going to YouTube this or watch this online. And I'm going to be honest with you, I feel naked on this stage, vulnerable, telling you my story. But until we come out to the forefront of these issues and tell each of our individual stories and find the bravery within our hearts to say, enough is enough. I'm going to be as passionate and have as much conviction as the zealots out there who have hijacked our policies. I am going to believe in love and social justice just as much as they love their hate. I am going to start sitting at the table with my children and my grandchildren and start telling them the great history of America. I'm going to start telling them stories about John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa and Gandhi and Buddha and Jesus. And we're going to start talking about the moral truth of America. This is our democracy. Corporate America does not own it. You cannot buy a politician and call that democracy. You cannot silence us with your money. It is through the collective wisdom and the collective consciousness of our people that we will change the trajectory of America. And because all of you are here today, I have great hope. You are looking for ideas worth spreading. That means you're looking for truth. And every time I get an anonymous email from a millennial who says, thank you for writing your book. Thank you for calling it out. We are young, educated, and broke. But guess what? I believe in your message. So this is a call to action. And what I'm going to ask you all to do today is very millennial of me. I'm going to ask all of you to pull out your cell phones. And I want you to take a selfie. I'll give you guys a minute to do it. beautiful, I love it. Okay, beautiful. So now, if you have Instagram or you have Facebook, which were invented by millennials, by the way, I would like you to say, I am the change, and hashtag young, educated, and broke. By doing that, you all are now part of the movement. The radicals in society, the people who overturned, who led the civil rights movement, women's suffrage, it wasn't a majority of Americans that decided that. It was a group of passionate citizens who decided they were going to be part of the movement. The biggest tool that millennials have today is social media, and I thank you all for participating today by taking a selfie and posting it online. And I tell you tonight, with as much authenticity as possible, that the light in me truly honors the light in you. Thank you.